He's making thousands more than you're willing to pay.
Yes, you're right.
Don't try that. We do have an impeachment process in Chicago. This meeting at Timberville Town Council order, August 14, 2025. Join me in pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone received their packet and the minutes from the last meeting. Any questions, comments, changes, amendments, any of that stuff? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you, Sarah. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Go around the room.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everyone has a copy of the treasurer's report. Any questions from Melinda on the treasurer's report? Okay. Now you have bills for payment. You'll notice we have our first bill from Meridian, which AC said he went through and checked and it's all accurate. But we haven't received anything from the tipping fee, so it's a little less than it normally is this month. Yes, we'll catch up to it sooner or later. Any questions on the bills?
Would you be disappointed if I didn't?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, on number 17, was that for only one tree?
Yes, that was the tree
That
over
was-
the water line.
Yeah, over the water line. And also
That was a big
on
tree.
34.
Those are reimbursements, right? That's who we have come in and mow stuff. And they
Right.
don't.
So they are not taking care of that. We have to do it.
Well,
Yes, we sent a letter to the owner and he refuses to have it mowed, so we had contracted to have it mowed to be.
Okay, good. And my question is, do we put a lien against that then, or do they?
We're gonna try to collect.
Okay, but if they do not pay it, can we put a lien against that property?
we did.
Okay, and then number 19, we should have him every time.
On your
He's
question,
friends of mine.
on your question about the tree.
Yeah.
I went back and looked because, we had that water leak on Orchard Drive a few years ago. And we had Algers and Keller come in and do the
Right.
tree stuff. So what did I say for that one? This one was like 2,500 total, and the one that we did at on Orchard was 3,100 total.
Well, the only reason I ask is because I didn't know if it was one or if it was other trees involved.
No, it was just one really big tree.
So
Okay.
with Alger added in, there was only 2,500. Well, they treat us really well.
Yeah, you can't beat that for what it was. Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Any other questions on the bills? Any motion to approve?
I make that motion to approve.
If that was the question, should you make the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, John. Go around the room.
Yes.
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 Awesome, thank you guys. Okay, Chief, got anything for us? See, I can say that now.
First, I have to get my officer out of here so we get back in control. This is William Sargent. He is one of our new officers. He started on July 11th, so you'll see him out and about around town. So, this is him, and if you want to get back on control, you can. If you want to hang around, go ahead.
And what was his name?
William Sargent.
Thank you. Welcome.
And then the other officer was George Redford, right?
Jordan Redford started on August 4th. I'll have him come in the next meeting to introduce him to the council.
Okay.
We received $10,000 for funding to our flock cameras. Our flock cameras continue to be a great asset to the town. They help us solve a lot of cases. You noticed an email, I had a police chaplain. This is a volunteer position. He will not only support the officers and town staff, but it will help support the community. And lastly, I should say congratulations to Sergeant Shane Turner and his wife on the birth of their third child, Reese Cole Turner. She was born July 21st at 11:35 a.m. She was 8 pounds, 10 ounces, and 21 inches long.
Congratulations. Awesome.
That's all I have.
I take it he's off for a little while?
He took off for 2 weeks and he came back.
Okay, wow. Okay, anything else? That's it?
That's it.
Okay, we'll go to Public Works, I see.
Let's start off with the, I put in the email about the SCADA recommendation.
Oh, okay.
So I'll let Don handle that since the chair's not here this evening.
Yeah, Isaac was appointed our chair, and he's not going to be with us this evening. We had two bids, and I guess the council got a copy of these.
I think we sent those out.
It was Dorset Controls and Fairwinds Automation, and when we went through them, Dorset was a little more, like $8,500 some odd dollars initially, but you basically save about $5,000 a year in reoccurring fees. So you break even a year and a half into it. And what I'm told is Dorset, they make their programming. So as far as software updates, it's got a lifespan of about 20 plus years. So they don't have to worry about it going bad. It's just, when you read the one just met our needs better than the other one did. So our group is recommended that we go with Dorset Controls at initial cost of $93,568 with a recurring cost of $2,460. And I can't make that motion, but that's our recommendation. Someone else has to make a motion.
You can make the
I can make motions,
Yeah.
Mayor? I've never made motions, Mayor.
Yes, I'm thinking Public Works, so yeah, you probably have somebody else do it.
Well, the committee's making the motion.
Yeah, okay. I'm making a recommendation that that's what we go with, and we'll see if we can get it.
I make a motion that we proceed with that.
Dorset.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, nothing against Fairwinds, because that's what I deal with, but, yeah, just different ways of doing things, but both of them have pluses and both of them have minuses. It's just, I think the bigger bang for the buck is the Dorset.
I agree. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Sarah. Go down the road.
Yes.
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 Thank you all. I know Chris will be excited about getting that project moving along. On down the list, Chris and I met with Quentin on Tuesday, and we discussed what we'll call the free water customers, the Getz Drive line, and then came up with a good game plan for that. And Quentin's going to start to work on that and doing some deed research and figuring out exactly who gets, if anybody's actually entitled to that, or what the circumstances are of those deeds. And then we'll get that line taken care of first, and then move on to the others that are on the main line coming into town. So get that process moving, and hopefully taken care of after 100 years.
20 plus years. Predates me for sure. Yes, for sure.
I will be meeting on this coming Tuesday with the Planning District Commission, representatives from the Planning District Commission, and we're going to talk about the stormwater runoff in Timberville. We've got some ideas of what to do with some of this stuff, but it's going to take some engineering and stuff. I don't know if it'll actually work. It's just, I talked to the mayor about it. But I want to run it by them, and I'll get our engineer involved at some point too, and hopefully get this thing kind of put to rest. If we can figure out some way to address the major issue all at once and get it put to rest. And then I know we have some other issues around too, and then we can start looking at those and how those figure into some of this, the main water areas. So that's Tuesday when I'll be meeting with them. I want to congratulate Trenton in our maintenance department for completing his CDL, getting his CDL license. Did it on his first trial on his test. And so that's really good. From what I understand, it's a pretty tough test, and a lot of people don't pass it on their first or second or third time. So it's a real benefit to the maintenance department, because now instead of it just gives us more freedom of like who can be in which vehicles and going to get salt to spread during the snowstorms or hauling gravel or whatever. So it's very good on that.
Is that good?
That doesn't.
Okay.
That's
Making sure, sorry.
it does that every meeting for some reason. And then I'd also like to recognize another member of our maintenance department, Nathan, who is got his paperwork into Melinda, and he's going to start working on his water license. I think it's changed a little bit. I think you have to start at the bottom now and work your way all the way up to class 4. I think you have to start, you used to be able to just go right into whatever it was, I think.
No, you have to have you've always had to have so many years' experience that if you want to work to a class 2, you've got to work at a class 3 to get to a class 2.
Right, yeah.
So he'll be able to get his class 4, and then he'll eventually be able to get his class 3.
Yeah.
But unless our certification was higher, then that's as high as he could go.
Yeah. But I think what it was before, because 6 is the lowest, and I think you could, if you had your average, you could go in and set for the test for class 4.
Oh, yeah, as long as you got your time in.
Yes, but then you have to actually start and test for each level
Yes,
to work up.
yes, as long as he's got his hours in,
Right.
which he should have the hours easily.
Yeah, but yeah, they just have to actually do each test for each step now, instead of being able to just go straight into that
Okay.
one level, so. But anyway, that's good, and I think Trenton is interested in doing the same thing. He was just trying to do the CDL licensing first before we had time to think about that, so. It's good. Future planning, we've got a couple of members of our public works department that only have less than 10 years before they can retire, so trying to get that continuation in place. So, and I think that's all that I have for public works.
And also thank everybody for, I can't think of, what event we had the other day?
National Night Out.
National Night Out, yes, thanks for handling that, take care of. The Dunkin' Booth was a blast.
Yeah.
It was an activity lab to the boot blast.
Yeah.
So,
At least it was a pool activity.
yeah. And I was a little worried it was colder, it was getting colder, but it was actually warmer in the tub, in that tub than it was outside once you got in it. But yeah, I think that went very well, so good job, and you think about different things next year, so look forward to it. You want to do the business?
You may have any questions on public works?
You want to go to business industry next?
Sure. The only thing I have on business and industry is that we have not been contacted by Starbucks. I had 2 people contact me in the past 4 days asking where Starbucks was going. I think some of it was, a little bit was in jest, but it was shown up on Indeed as 4 jobs available for Starbucks in Timberville. And I think it's just the way their algorithm works as to where they pull this from. So the town has not been contacted by Starbucks. So just in case anybody else hears your rumor.
We're open if they want to.
Yeah, we're definitely open to discussing that. So, but yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, if they're watching.
Yeah, right, if they're watching. I think that's all I have in business. Is there anything else in business? I think it's about it.
Miscellaneous Tractor Supply is going
Going along well. They submitted an amendment to their plan for the stormwater management there, and so obviously the county kind of handles all of that stuff for us with their stormwater sediment and erosion control, so we rely on the county for the engineering.
And the bigger plans back there, if you want to see, it's hard to see it on your phone or your whatever, but they've really, I think they've really done good for the people that's going through what they've done. Even the one person's even getting a new retaining wall from the railroad ties, getting all new parking and stuff like that, retaining walls. So I think they really worked hard to try to keep people happy.
The timing between their construction and the heavy rainfall that we've had, we had 17 inches of rain at our plant in July.
It's been
I
bad.
mean, just unbelievable.
They couldn't hit it at the worst time.
No, they couldn't have. And if it had been all grass, there probably would not been as much concern
Yeah.
as it is now, because it just washed the red clay in.
And Anthony, the superintendent, before they actually broke ground down there, he came in and talked to me and said, how much rain do y'all get this time of year? I'm like, your guess is good as mine. I said, we've been in a drought for the past 3 years and haven't gotten really anything.
Unbelievable.
And then this happened, so
But it's good it happened because then they
they
can.
can address it because
Yes.
of the worst situation. Yeah.
Did anybody contact you from Virginia Avenue? I mean, because it was supposed to be a group here tonight.
No, I didn't hear anything
Okay.
from
Okay.
anybody. I know that Tractor Supply has been very much in contact with the Virginia Avenue residents and stuff, so.
Because, okay, we'll talk about it later. No big deal.
Ready for Parks and Recs?
Yep.
Okay, anything to report on that at all?
Sharon alluded to it earlier, but we had really good attendance at the last music event for our music in the American Legion Park. So it was a Little Walter and the Convictions. They were a great band and it was good weather. I think the cooler weather probably helped bring some people out. It was a really good turnout. So we're definitely, I told Cecilia already that night, I said, we need to definitely consider getting it back again. She said she's already talked to him about it and trying to get them to
He
come.
went to Harrisburg, I went to Broadway, and he married one of my best friends.
Okay.
I've known
Little
him-
connection.
I've known him for several years.
Okay, finance. Nothing?
Oh, audit.
The auditors will be here at the end of the month.
Yeah, auditors will be back at the end of the month to finish up their process.
Is there any more I have to sign, or have I signed everything?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Okay,
Yeah.
give me before I leave.
Okay.
And now that we're down to personnel, and this was the real topics I think we had discussed this meeting. There were three updates. Everyone got a copy of it. It's the marketing events coordinator, just job description, the police sergeant job description, and a master police officer job description. They hadn't included in the manual thus far, so to get that updated, AC put together those three job descriptions. I'm sure y'all read them. It's your typical job description, and they seem right on par for what they were going for. And especially if we're going to eventually hire up front, we're going to need at least a market. Perhaps we might need the marketing one depending on
Yeah, whatever the
any changes
situation
or happens.
is.
Okay. Any questions on those personnel manual updates, those three? You don't need, you can just add it, right? You don't need a motion of any kind, I don't think. Is there any motion for that? No. Okay, so there's no objection, then you add that. The other one we ran into is the difference in basically an officer, if I could put this in a way, an officer works a 12-hour shift, but when he gets a holiday repay for that 12 hours, he gets 8 hours back, correct? Now, the front office or the maintenance people work 8 hours and they get an 8-hour compensation. So basically, if a police officer goes to do his holiday repay for the 12 hours he worked, he's got to take 8 hours holiday repay and then 4 hours vacation to get that day off. Is that correct? Am I saying that right? So the question, I guess the question we have now is, do we want to change that policy for police officers? Where basically when you work for a 12-hour holiday, you get 12 hours back. I called the sheriff's department to see, I couldn't remember what we got, but in the sheriff's department, when you get 12 hours repay for a 12-hour shift. That seems to be the norm, or at least norm for them compared to us. I guess I explained it about that way. I mean, the reason I guess is everyone's getting 8 hours, it's because at the end of the year, everyone works the same amount of time. If you give 12 hours to the officer, because they work a 12-hour shift, they'll have a little bit more time off at the end of the year, correct? Whatever, they'll have extra time off at the end of the year. So, it's kind of a tough one, really, I think. I mean, when you have 12 hours, when you work a 12-hour holiday, should you get 12 hours back? Or do you just get 8 hours back and have to get, like everybody else who works 8-hour shift, You have to use 4 hours of your vacation to make it up, so. Does that make, did I confuse everybody? Huh? So right now, everyone gets 8 hours on a holiday.
Right.
But a police officer who works 12 hours only gets 8 of it back.
But he's being paid to work that holiday.
He's paid to work.
He's being paid 12 hours to work that holiday under his normal salary.
Right.
Then he gets an extra 8 hours holiday pay on that day.
He gets reimbursed, he gets to take his holiday on a different day, is what ends up happening. He doesn't get,
The best way to do that is just pay him. You don't have compensated time, you don't have trying to bank stuff and worry about being equal. It's his normal 12, or even if it would be the maintenance department, the maintenance department work 4 10s. All right, that's their normal 10. They're going to be paid for the normal 10 hours of work that day.
that's correct.
Then they're going to receive an extra 8 hours for holiday pay. Now, the 10 hours that they work is an overtime rate.
Well, the police department's different because the police department doesn't,
Yeah,
they do about just a regular
They
schedule.
don't have overtime or holidays.
But why?
Because the way that their schedule,
I'm just asking why, because I don't understand. Any kind of schedule could be made to work with holidays and overtime pay.
well, yeah, you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Yeah, but I think police officers historically don't get holiday pay on a holiday because it's part of their job of working holidays. That's just part of their business.
Kind of like nursing.
Yes.
Or medical.
Nurses don't get holiday pay on holiday they work. Those professions it's just not the way they do it.
So when I first started here, the town paid the officers for holidays that they worked. But then, I guess to save a little money, they decided to give us holiday prepay time. So they gave us those 8 hours instead of paying us, so we could take another day besides paying us. So that's how it was when I first started here, but that was 15 years ago.
So you got paid for the
I
holiday,
got paid for holiday that I worked.
you get paid for the holiday, which you normally do.
Yes.
And then they'd give you 8 hours. They would do it, they'd do it like John was saying, they'd give you 8 hours.
Yeah, they would pay us out that, and it might have been time and a half. I know some of the
I
other.
believe it was. I think
Some of the
that's,
other towns pay time and a half for, but they're paying 12 hours time and a half, not 8 hours.
So it's kind of like compensatory. Is what it reminds me of. It's what's classified as compensatory.
Okay, explain that to me.
So that would be, as he explained, but you would get the 8 hours to decide to take at a different time. So that's almost like compensatory.
And that's what holiday repay is.
Correct.
You can
It's-
take-
in other words, you can choose when to take X amount of hours, whether it be 8 or 12,
Yeah.
on a different day of their choice.
Right. Yeah, and that's, I don't know why they call it holiday repay. It's just that you're repaying a holiday. It's not like you're getting money for it, but they're repaying the holiday you missed. So yeah, when they work that 12, they get 8 hours for that holiday that they can take at another time. Is what they have right now.
but if you have somebody who's been here a long time, and have many, many weeks of vacation, how do you get your compensatory time off? And how long do you allow it to be carried on the books? And who's responsible for keeping the books up to date?
Sheriff's Department was 6 months. I had about 6 months, Tina gave you a call and said, why you've got so much holiday.
Right, and somebody like Mr. Hook here, the chief, if he's got a lot of years, he's got a lot of vacation time. He's gonna have a hard time getting his time off, so my personal feeling is, he gets paid.
So instead of giving them holiday repay, you just pay them,
8 hours
You pay
additional.
him 8 hours pay, or time and a half pay, Mulvey pays time and a half for all employees. If you work on a holiday, you get whatever you work that holiday is overtime. If you work 8 hours that day, it's time and a half. Then you're gonna get 8 hours of straight pay for the holiday, because that's basically what the holidays are based on. So when I have a guy that works a 10-hour shift on a holiday, he gets 10 hours at time and a half. And then he'll get 8 straight hours for the holiday.
gets paid for the holiday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then there's, because, and I don't know, with always new people, I've been told so many different things. I've been told, I can't pronounce the word compensation pay or whatever, there's no such thing. Time off, you can't bill it on the books. You're not supposed to do that. Now, I don't know how legal that is, that didn't come from the attorney, that came from somebody else, and that you can't do that. Because that's what I wanted to do for my guys, give them some time off. And this person said, no. I said, well, I'll just keep trying. She said, I don't want to hear a word you're saying.
How does it work, for the, say you had only one holiday, it's all you had, one holiday, and Will works at one holiday, I understand what you're saying, but what about the guys whose schedule doesn't hit that holiday? He never gets the benefit of getting paid for that holiday because he never worked on that holiday. You know what I mean?
No, he gets paid for the holiday. He just doesn't get paid any overtime, but he didn't work that day.
He gets his, how does he get that benefit of a holiday off because his schedule never hit the holiday? You know what I mean? Because I give you 5 holidays a year. If your schedule never hits it, you never end up with 5 holidays a year because your schedule never hits it.
I'll still be paid for them.
What's that?
I'm still being paid for them.
You're being paid the regular time, but everyone else got paid and didn't have to work it.
Well, that's the way the schedule works.
But that's not how the front staff works too. The front staff gets like 13 paid days off. If their schedule never hits, he doesn't end up with any paid days off because...
No. Those people out front that get the 13 paid holidays.
Right.
All right, well, the same for the police department. Even though they might not be scheduled to work that day, they're going to be receiving 8 hours holiday pay for that day.
Okay.
That's part of their benefit, is paid holidays. We follow the state.
So they didn't pay instead of time off?
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is, it's either they didn't pay.
If they don't work, they don't get any extra above the holiday pay. You all don't work on the holiday, the staff in the office. You don't work on the holiday, so you don't receive anything extra. You get your 8 hours holiday pay. You add that, if it's a 1 week with 4 full days, you get 40 hours pay, 30 of them is straight time. 8 of them is holiday pay, which is not time and a half or anything like that unless you work like the police department does. Then, whatever work, if they just have to work 4 hours that day, they get paid. 4 hours overtime, 8 hours holiday pay.
I see what you're saying. I'm still missing the part, if your schedule never ends up on a holiday, say your schedule never ends up on a holiday, never, and you're getting paid those 12 hours and you're working those 12 hours.
No, you don't get paid those 12 hours. You get paid each holiday.
No. You're working, you work your 12 hours every year and you work the same amount that you have to work, but you never got a holiday day. You never worked a holiday. What happens with those holiday days? When did I get paid for those?
The week that it falls in.
So you just get 8 hours extra. You get 8 hours extra on your paycheck. You might have worked your normal 40 hours a
Right,
week.
but if your
but you
holiday
get-
falls there, that's part of your benefit of being a town
You get-
employee. You get paid for the 13 holidays.
Yeah, but it's okay, so they can choose, these guys get time off, they can choose to just take pay for it. You know see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it would be like a holiday if we didn't have it adjusted for it, but it would be like the office staff having a holiday fall on the weekend when we would be off anyway.
Right.
It's the same for them if they're, like a holiday falls on a day, they're just not, like, their weekend day.
Right, you're still gonna get the holiday pay. I mean, because most holidays that fall on a weekend, by the state or federal government, deserve to need to file like Monday or the free Friday. So you're gonna be paid for it. I mean, again, I just have, make sure that we're legal and doing it the proper way. If we're giving them compensatory pay, that it's done right, that it's kept right. But then, again, I have a hard time giving them, not compensatory pay, but time off. Because how's he ever going to get it? If you got a man that's got 4 weeks vacation and he's got, I mean, how many I can't remember, but I can't roll over, but 120 hours my vacation.
That's what we are, is,
All right, well, what happens to the rest of it if a guy decides, okay, I'm gonna take my extra time off instead of using holiday, and he gets to the end of the year, and he has 160, or I think I can get up to 200 hours vacation a year. I lose it. Well, to me, that's hurting the employee, because you're giving him all this other time, but let him get the money for it. I mean, I know, that's my feeling on it.
it's a big difference between the ones who have a lot of seniority and the ones who are new here, because the ones who are new here can benefit from it.
They benefit from it.
Because they're not accruing those bigger numbers of annual leave each month.
But I just know the legal aspect of things anymore scares me. So if we do it one way, then you've got to make it work the same way for the whole town. You can't have one department going this way and one department going it that way. It doesn't work like that.
But it's gonna end up being that way because the front office is just gonna be off and get paid. These guys will just get extra pay on the time that they're gonna get their normal week, because holidays really don't exist for these people. They work no matter what, and they're gonna get 8 more hours, 8 or 13 vacation days of extra pay during the year.
Yeah, but why?
But that's what you're saying, that's what they're gonna get.
I think in a policy now, I think the police are listed as essential employees, so we have to be here. So the town office doesn't have.
Yes, it's your regular work schedule. You have to be here because it's your work schedule. As long as if he's working, as long as you compensate him with the holiday pay and pay him for the hours that he worked, that's all legal. If his schedule didn't fall on a holiday, okay, he gets he gets paid for 8 hours holiday, and he just doesn't have to work that day. He can stay home and barbecue with the family or eat turkey. But unfortunately, the guy's work schedule makes him fall on a holiday. That's just the way, I'll have better say, the ball bounces put in the position you're at. I mean, that's the way it
But
fails.
that guy working at home, who didn't work that day, he worked his 40 hours, plus he gets paid 8 hours on that holiday that he wasn't working on, so he gets 48 that week.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Right.
Just making sure we're.
Yeah, but if he's already worked 40 hours,
Yeah, he's already.
and then he's off and it still falls on the holiday, he still gets the 8 hour
I
holiday.
mean, if they're not working, they're gonna get their 80 hours in a 2-week period, the way that 12 shift thing works. And, they'll get 80 hours plus 8 for the holiday if we go the route of paying them,
Right.
right? And the guy who works gonna get his 12 hours plus 8 hours paid for the holiday. And then there's no holiday rebate, basically. Oh, that would be a holiday rebate. There'll be no banking of hours, basically. I see what you're saying. That's an idea. I don't know if that,
But I mean, I don't know.
I don't know if that
To me,
really complicates things or makes it easier, I'm not sure.
my opinion, you just ask the employees which they would rather do. But our neighbors got in a lot of big trouble because each department had their own way of doing how they handle the holidays. Big time, with auditors and everything else.
But that's not happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
not.
So I want to make
Yeah.
sure, I want to make
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're proposing. That's me scouting over here, I just want to make sure that I'm following. So, office and maintenance generally, when they work 8-hour shifts, right? Okay. So if a holiday falls on a Wednesday, office and maintenance have that day off. And they get paid, that their holiday pay is reflected in that paycheck, where they have holiday pay 8 hours, right?
Correct.
Okay. So with the police department, let's say that on that holiday, there's only one officer that is working in that block of time in which the office is closed.
it's that day, it's that holiday day.
Okay,
Christmas
so
day, it's that-
you're saying, I just want to make sure I'm understanding, that the officer that is working, they get their regular,
They get paid for
they
12 hours.
pay their regular 12 hours, but then they get the additional 8 hours that they're getting on top, okay.
Yes.
So that means that everyone who isn't scheduled to work on that holiday also will get their holiday pay of 8 hours.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, everyone is getting, in that pay period, is gonna get the same additional 8 hours of holiday pay.
Yes.
Right, right. All the police officers would get additional 8 hours of holiday pay.
They don't get additional.
Well, they get their 8 hours holiday pay.
Right.
So,
8 hours holiday additional to their normal check.
correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there an issue right now, like, you guys have officers that have a bunch of vacation and paid time off that they haven't taken just because of one reason or another?
Yes.
And having the ability to take time, to feel like you can take that time off has been, historically has been,
For me, example, it's, obviously my position is harder for me to take off.
Right.
To have responsibilities. But obviously for the officers, you know, they need that time off because the job is stressful.
Right.
And don't want them to get burnt out.
right,
So, for Will, example, for him coming in and starting, he's only accruing like 3.3 hours of vacation a month, and that's, I'm sorry, but it's
right,
minute.
yeah,
So for him having some holiday time up front, gives him some leeway to take some time off, if he's feeling burnt out, you know, obviously he's getting sick time, he can obviously do that.
Right.
But yeah, for me, it's hard to burn time, because obviously I'm in a position where it's, you know, I need to be here.
right.
But you have officers who would rather have the time off than the,
Some of the officers really have time off, some of them, I honestly, I really don't know without speaking to them, as far as which way they would rather go. Their main thing was, if I'm working a holiday, I should get 12, because a lot of the other towns are giving them 12 hours.
That's what I was gonna ask, how the other municipalities handle that.
well, the sheriff's department, if you work 12 hours that day, you get 12 hours made back to you later.
Right,
But they would have 12, they would have, basically, say you have 13 holidays, they'll have 12, they have 13 holidays at 12 hours a day, 12 hours. But
Why is it at 12 hours a day? Your holidays are paid on an 8-hour basis.
I'm just saying what they're proposing, what they're asking. They would have, if you went with giving them 12 hours, they would have 13 holidays at 12 hours a day versus the front staff who
Yes.
has 13 holidays at 8 hours a day.
Yes.
I'm just expressing what they're saying.
And so the police department is asking for 12 hours.
On a day that they work holiday, they have
Only on the day
holiday
they work
to get
holiday.
12.
When you get paid for the 12 hours you work, which you're going to, that's all the holiday is 8 hours.
Well, that's what they get nowadays. Nowadays, they work a holiday, they get 8 hours repay
Okay.
in today's environment.
But when we say holiday repay, it's
8 hours.
8 hours of time to take off.
They get, yeah.
I'm just sitting here wondering if we're struggling to reinvent the wheel, you know, because we're not the only municipality that has a police department that schedules 12-hour shifts, and then the rest of the town does like 8 or 10-hour shifts.
I agree.
Okay,
I'll tell you how neighbor do it, just like I explained it to you, that's how they do it.
yeah, well, yeah. I'm just wondering if, you know, we're sitting here,
I mean, me personally, when I was working, I liked having the time off versus the extra pay. Me personally.
I can be convinced either way.
I'm work the time off, but I cannot justify just because you work on a holiday, you get 12 hours holiday pay. I just can't.
Yeah, I can be convinced either way.
Now, he can get the 8 hour holiday pay, but if he works the 12 hour that day, then he gets that time that you work on a holiday should be compensated in your paycheck at time and a half. So basically, when you work a holiday, your pay for that day is 2.5 times.
But when a police officer, because of the way repays are done, technically, they're not working the holiday hours, they're working a holiday day, but their holiday hours are being taken at a different time. It's kind of a weird way of looking at it.
I just don't follow why it's done like that. I mean, I don't know,
That's how the police departments do it. I can't say why it's done that way.
Well, I think that, you know, I don't know if we needed a motion on this tonight, and I hope not.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
it's
it's like, I would be
fine.
curious to see how other municipalities, you know, handle this. Not saying that we have to follow what everyone else is doing, but for me, I just need more, I just need more information.
Let's have the chief talk to different municipalities and find out what the standard process is.
I can do that.
Because I don't want to overcomplicate it either. I do worry about, for the young folk who are starting, I do want them to have as much time off as possible. So, you know, if it ends up being an option, you pay them or you get your time off or either one, but, yeah, why don't you do a little, why don't you do a little,
Okay, I can do it.
just see how the other ones are doing it, then we'll have a better way of looking at it. I see what everybody's saying, and, you know, I had a debate at home with my better half on this too, and we were at different ends of the spectrum ourselves. So, I don't know, different. I guess we could move on from this one, just send out a note to everybody saying how the other municipalities do it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'll make some phone calls.
Okay. Wow. Did we handle some of that? It was a 12-hour.
Well, the other one, as far as getting it up front, that, I think that can't be decided until after the others decided. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We just need to figure out how the typical, and police departments do it differently. I can't say why they do it differently.
Well, and then that's the thing, police departments are often exempt from certain Fair Labor Standards Act type things too.
It's a weird one because they're government employees, and there's certain federal laws that apply to the government employees in terms of what you have to do for holidays. But then there's exemptions because it's police officers.
Okay.
And so what you're really talking about is it's like in lieu of holiday pay, because the problem is if you do the 8 hours, right, during that pay period where the holiday is, you have to pay it during that period. You can't defer it to a future date.
Okay.
So if you institute that policy, which is why normally you just say, well, you'll get this in lieu of, and then it basically gets added to your leave bank, and then you can take it anytime in the future. So you define the benefit as holidays, you get an extra 8 hours of leave time if you work on the holiday. And whether it's 8 hours or 12 hours is for you all to decide, but that's how you're defining it. If you change it where you're actually paying them for the holiday, all officers, then you have to pay them during that pay period when the holiday is.
Okay.
And they don't get the benefit of doing the in lieu of and getting an extra work day.
But they can take the hours that they worked as pay, correct?
Sure.
And then bank the 8 hours of holiday.
They can't bank it if it's defined as, like, you're going to pay those holidays.
Yeah, really, the work they get paid for, like, there's no question about that. But, you know, what Quinn's saying is like, if the policy would be established is that they didn't pay for the 8 hours of holiday time, then you have to pay that.
Whether you work or not, when it's Thanksgiving, that pay,
Well, that's-
you're getting paid during that period.
That makes sense, that's why I've been,
You can't defer that.
that's why she says
hours.
you can't defer that time, I say, so I
That's
follow.
right. You can't defer that time if it's defined as holiday pay. Then you have to pay the holiday pay when the holiday occurs. You can't defer it to the future. And not pay it because I'm going to take the time off, because then you're in violation of wage hour laws.
So there are even stipulations in, I think it's federal code, I believe, that like for police departments that have less than, it's either less than 5 or 5 and less members in the department, you don't have to pay them any kind of overtime whatsoever, no matter how many hours they work, which is bizarre too.
Yeah.
But it's one of those weird exemptions.
Well, oh no, I understand everything, I like to be consistent across the board, regardless of which department that you work in. Whether, you know, the police officers are stressful, but everybody's job is stressful anymore. They take more risk than some. Yeah, but I think being fair across the board, or do it just constant, to make it the same, then you don't want, you might not have problems now, but trust me, as you hire more people and you hire new people, in today's world, you're gonna have problems. They're gonna wanna know why Joe does it this way and I can't. I try to avoid that, if you can. If you can't, then that's fine. But we could pay the holiday pay, and then, like they're requesting, they could bank the 12 hours
I
that
think
they
that's-
work that day.
I think that's.
No, whatever they work that day, they have to be paid for.
Okay, so you may have to class that holiday pay as something, you couldn't call holiday.
Yeah, basically, the language that, at least that I'm seeing is, it's like in lieu of a holiday, because it's not payment, it's time off.
Yeah.
That's the benefit, is additional time off.
When they say holiday repaid, and I guess in law enforcement, it's holiday, you get not paid, you're getting repaid the holiday, as in, my holiday's going over here and say, here, you're repaying me the holiday, not repaying me the pay, you're repaying me the holiday. I don't know why it's called holiday repay, but that's.
Basically, they'll define it as however many holidays, paid time off, but it's like, you take that holiday whenever you want to. It just basically gets added to your
You're
leave
repaying that
bank.
holiday later on your leave, yeah. Well, do some research, we'll figure it out. We may find out everyone does it exactly the same way, and that's the way it should be done, I don't know. Who knows?
Or you'll talk to 6 and get 6 different answers.
Could be.
Probably, yeah.
And then it'll be way worse next month.
I don't know. It seems police departments are, on this kind of thing, seem to be fairly, I could be totally wrong.
No, they're not.
Fair, at least for the hour to repay thing. But who knows? I could be totally wrong.
It's kind of all over the place.
Is that other place? Okay, well, do some checking, please.
I'll have it for next month.
Okay. Send an email, so at least we can do one for a few minutes before we get here. So we're gonna skip that till next week, and we don't need a motion to table it or anything, because it's just a discussion. Okay, any other personnel?
The only other thing is,
We're not tabling it because it wasn't a motion in a second.
the only other thing is that we're gonna, I've got the ad ready, and we're gonna get that put out tomorrow for the assistant clerk, assistant treasurer position. So we'll get that one advertised, and get that moving, and see where that leads us. So
Okay. So, yeah.
that's all that I have in personnel.
Sharon, you got anything for the museum for us?
Yard sale tomorrow and Saturday, 8 to 1.
Okay. Hey, look, Beverly, you got something for us? Got a big old list?
It just takes me a while to get up. All right, on Wednesday, January 6, 1960, Turner Plenum and Mr. Barb was coming down Gospel Hill in a light truck hauling a few hundred pounds of potatoes. The brakes failed, and it ran across Main Street while turning north, and it hit the northeast corner of the old post office building, and the truck came to rest on the sidewalk. So I guess when they got down to Bottom Hill, they tried to turn right, and they just didn't have enough room. August 1928, work was underway on the foundation for the New Brethren Church. The original church, built in 1878, burned on March 25th, 1928. And that was the old Dumford Church, and that was the first church that was ever built in the town of Timberville.
Oh, okay.
And of course, and then your church was only about 3 years later. So, Saturday, May 10th, 1924, the picture showing at the Columbia Theater tonight in Timberville was The Forgotten Law. It was noted that it was excellent. August 15th, 1945, a community meeting was held at the Brethren Church at 8:15 celebrating VJ Day. Of course, the end of the Second World War. On May 6, 1904, the Literary Society meeting was held. The debate was, there is more pleasure in memory than in hope. The judges decided in favor of the affirmative side that there is more pleasure in memory.
Oh, my goodness.
August 1908, a 130-acre parcel of land north of Timberville was sold at a public auction, $57.50 per acre. February 1934, the Timberville Town Council decided to adopt some form of building permit requirement. 1934.
That's early enough.
I have a question.
That's what I.
Did they lose any potatoes?
Yeah, I think it's something that hit there in front of the Brethren Church and another car ran over one.
I was, okay. So, I guess when you're 84, you'll be standing up here saying, back in 2025, we debated the police hours.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not
I probably should have talked to you or Ken. I understand everything right. but-
No, I like the healthy discussion. I mean,
I like having a discussion like
yeah.
in public.
I just want
It's nice to see
AC to make a note of it, so when he's 84 years old, he knows about
I
it.
can't remember stuff now, like I remember that then.
Okay, other business, council have any other business?
The only thing I have is, school's back in session next week, so everybody be aware of all the buses and the young drivers that are out and about, that's heavily travel times of the day.
And I'm sure you guys will be down there and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've already sent an email out to my guys.
Okay,
Thanks to the maintenance department for addressing the problems that they have
Oh,
when they have the heavy rain. That remedies that problem right away.
yeah. They did a lot, they fixed a lot of things.
No, they were busy in some nasty conditions,
Yes.
working on that stuff for sure.
Okay, we're done with public comment.
You want to comment?
Does the public want to make a comment?
I don't know how to say it, because it means a lot, different things to different ones of us, but we've acknowledged before the passing of someone in town who was an important person or special or someone that we miss. And the murder recently of Holly Hoover Hatcher, she was a Timberville resident. She grew up in Timberville.
Right down to 11.
Right down to 11, she and her twin sister. And I just think it should be mentioned tonight.
You've done it. Thank you. I wasn't aware she was a Timberville.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. Anything else, anybody? Thank you all, meeting adjourned.